Good afternoon, class. Okay, so we are now back, okay, for our second lesson in Accounting 1. All right, so we have here Chapter 1, Accounting in Action. So let us first have a review. So last time we were able to discuss the meaning of accounting, right? So accounting is defined as the process, right, for identifying, okay, recording, and it includes classifying and summarizing, and then communication. All right, so you have to communicate to the owners of the company what is actually happening in the business, and how is that possible? Through preparing accounting reports, which is the financial statements that we have mentioned last time. Okay. All right. And based on those financial statements, you could analyze and interpret if the business is profiting or not. Okay. So, what are the questions, all right, asked by the internal users? Last time we were able to discuss this, right? So, as an internal user, you have, it's important for you to know accounting. Why? Is the cash sufficient to pay bills, right? Remember, internal users, ito yung mga nasa loob ng kumpanya, right? Of course, sufficient ba to pay ng bills yung business, right? Kasi 'di ba, sabi ko sa inyo last time, hindi lang naman sila nagbabayad ng cash. They also pay, umuutang din sila, okay? And what is the cost of manufacturing each unit of product? So dapat ba, 'di ba sabi, dapat mas mataas yung pumapasok na income kaysa sa lumalabas, right? So as much as possible, you have to get the lowest na makukuhanan nyo ng raw material. And can we afford to give employees pay raises each year? Right? So ito medyo mahirap ngayon kasi pandemic, right? Which product line is the most profitable? Yan, usually yan yung mga um, they are trying to take into consideration. Of course, when you go to business, dapat kikita kayo. Ano ba yung mas mabenta ngayon? Alam nga naman, for example, summer ngayon, tapos pandemic, magbebenta ka ng swimsuit, di ba? So, hindi naman, konti lang naman ang bibili kasi it's not a priority. Kaya nowadays, ang mga pagkain, which is number one priority, yun yung mas mabenta ngayon. Okay, what about the questions by external users? Ano kaya? External users, ito yung mga gumagamit ng service, right? Or ito yung mga external stakeholders or na pwedeng mag-invest sa business mo. Is the company earning satisfactory income? 'Di ba? Bakit ako mag-i-invest dyan? Kikita ba ako dyan? How does the company compare in size and profitability with its competitors? Ayan. Paano yan malalaman? Through the financial statements, makikita kung talagang pataas ng pataas yung kita ng business. Will the company be able to pay its debts rather as they come due? Okay. Kapag nakakabayad ng electricity, electricity, ilaw, especially kung meron silang physical store, right? Renta, yung mga inutang nyo, for example, nangutang ng supplies, right? So, kapag nag-due siya at nakakabayad, it would only mean na, of course, kumikita yung company. Okay? So, we weren't able to discuss this, but actually, accounting is different from bookkeeping. Okay? Accounting includes bookkeeping, also includes much more. Okay? Kasi si bookkeeping involves only the recording of economic events. It's just one part of accounting. Last time, I already mentioned to you na accounting involves 8 accounting cycle. Okay? So the accounting professions, ayan. Okay? So sino-sino ang mga involved sa accounting profession? The public accountants, ito yung mga nagtatrabaho sa public, sa mga government agencies, right? Private accountants naman, they are employed in individual private companies, okay? Not for-profit or accounting, okay? Non-profit organization includes reporting and controlling for government units, foundation, hospitals, labor unions, colleges, universities, and charities. Of course, they also have their own accounting kasi kumukuha sila ng donation, di ba? So dapat the public needs to know kung saan napupunta yung pera. Okay? So the illustration rather of ethics is bakit nga ba kailangan ng accounting? It's because of ethics kasi this is ethics is the standards of conduct. So, bakit kayo nag-accounting, right? Because it recognizes situation and ethical issues involved. It has to be transparent. Lahat makikita magkano yung lumabas na pera, magkano yung pumasok. Identify and analyze elements. Bakit bumagsak yung business? Bakit last month kumikita? Bakit compare last year kumikita? Identify alternatives and weigh effects on stakeholders. Of course, yung mga stakeholders, sila yung pwedeng mag-invest sa business nyo, right? So, of course, kung hindi sila kikita, so there would be a great possibility na ipu-pull out nila yung stocks nila sa inyo, right? So, meron din tayong tinatawag na GAAP or Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, right? So, the cost principle, number one, the cost principle dictates that assets are recorded at their cost. Okay? Magkano mo siya binili? For example, you invested automobile in the business worth 1 million pesos. Mahal ng sasakyan ngayon, ha? Okay, for example, pang-deliver kasi, cost is the value exchange at the time something is acquired. Cost is used because it is both relevant and reliable. Okay? What about the going concern? Okay? Going concern principle assumes organization will continue into foreseeable future. From the word itself, kapag tinagalog mo, going concern, di ba? Patuloy na nag-ooperate ang business. Okay? Kasi kung hindi na nag-ooperate ang business, malamang ang mangyayari yan ay magsasara. Okay? So going concern means it's like telling everybody na your business is still operating in the near future, from now in the near future. Okay? Monetary unit, only transaction data can be expressed in terms of money is included in the accounting records. Okay? So syempre, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, or last time, even last time, right? Yung mga lahat ng lumalabas na pera, you have to record that. And of course, ano ba ang ginagamit natin ngayong pambayad? Hindi naman na tayo panahon nung unang panahon na merong barter, right? Though merong barter ngayon, may system barter sa Facebook. But in accounting, right, in a business, when you put up your own business, of course, kapag may bumili sa iyo na product at kapag kayo ay bumili ng raw materials, pera ang pambabayad nyo. Economic entity, okay, includes any organization or unit in society. So of course, if you have a business, you are part of the economy of the Philippines, economy of ng specific kung saan man kayo nagtayo ng business nyo. And it would really affect, right? Kaya nga ngayon, pandemic, maraming kumpanya ang nagsara. And that is one of the reasons na medyo ang economy natin is not good. Okay? Right? And yan, business enterprises. So hindi actually there are different types of businesses. Okay? So a business owned by one person is generally a proprietorship, owner's equity. Okay? If it's only one, isa lang. So halimbawa, sari-sari store. Okay? So tinatawag siyang single proprietorship kasi isa lang ang may-ari. Siya na din ang boss, siya na ang empleyado, siya na rin ang accountant, all around, right? Partnership naman is business owned by two or more persons associated as partners, okay? So two or more. So for example, ako may pera, ikaw may pera, siya may pera, and then pinagsama-sama namin yung pera, nagtayo ka ng business, nagtayo kami, for example, ng coffee shop. So it's not single proprietorship anymore. It's a partnership. Corporation naman is organized as a separate legal entity under corporation law and having ownership is divided into transferable shares, which is called corporation or shareholders equity. Okay. A very good example of this is Jollibee, Jollibee Food Corporation, McDonald's, right? Pure Gold, diba? So basis dito, ng ownership ay sa shareholder kasi may mga shareholder. For example, usually kasi kung sino yung pinakamataas na share sa company, siya yung CEO or Chief Executive Officer. Siya yung pinaka parang president ng company. Okay? Alright, so end show ko muna ito. And then share ko yung inyong module. Okay, I just show you that PowerPoint kasi it's powerful, right? Okay, meron pa kasi dito na hindi pa na-mention, okay? Ayan, so GAAP, na-mention na kanya, Generally Accounting Principles. Yan, it's the rules to be followed while reporting financial data. So actually, meron pang ibang generally accounting principles. Ayan, ayan. Business or entity principle. Pag sinabing, ito kanina, na-mention ko na ito kanina, you are part of the economics or economy rather. Okay? So, if the owner has a barbershop, the cash of the barbershop should be reported separately from personal cash. Okay? So business entity concept means na yung business mo is separate from you. So ngayon, pag ikaw nag-invest ka ng pera, you have 100,000 pesos, you want to put up your own barbershop, and then that 100,000 pesos ay nilagay mo sa business. That 100,000 pesos doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to the business. Kaya business entity principle, they are separate, magkahiwalay. Okay? Going concern principle, ayan, na-mention na natin kanina yan. Okay? Time period principle, financial statements are to be divided into specific time intervals. This is the concept that the business should report the results of its operation over a standard period of time. Usually, ang financial statement ay pinapagawa yan at the end of the year. Okay? At the end of the accounting period, which is like December 31. Iko-close na nila yung book niya, kasi yung open ulit ng January. But there are those companies that they require their accountants to submit a financial statement on a monthly basis kasi kino-compare nila. For example, financial statement, ngayon, today is April, like last month, March 2020, right, versus financial statement, March 2019. Para ma-compare nila, malaman nila, bakit last year, mas mataas yung kita natin, bakit ngayon mas mababa? Okay? Monetary unity principle, amounts are stated into a single monetary unit. This is the concept that business should only record the transactions that can be stated in terms of a unique currency. Ayan, na-mention na natin kanina yan. Objectivity principle, financial statement must be presented with supporting evidence. Ayan, kaya dapat meron po tayong mga resibo. Kasi kailangan yan kapag tayo ay nagre-record. Ayan. It is the concept that the financial statements of our organization be based on solid evidence. Ayan. When a customer paid Jollibee for their order, Jollibee should always have a copy of the receipt to represent as evidence. Okay? Cost principle, accounts should be recorded initially at cost. Ayan. Ito kanina na-mention na natin kanina, di ba? So kung bumili ka ng sasakyan, na purchase mo siya ng 1 million, you have to put there na 1 million mo talaga siya nabili. Okay? And then what else? Another one would be accrual accounting principle. Revenue should be recognized when earned, regardless of collection. And expense should be recorded when incurred regardless of payment. Ayan. So, di ba, kunwari for example, ang business mo is barbershop ka nga. So, meron kang kumare. Si kumare pumunta doon. Tapos, ay, Mare, gupitan mo naman ako. Kaya lang wala pa akong pambayad. Sa katapusan na ha. Okay. So ngayon, kapag sa accounting, even though si Kumare hindi pa nagbabayad, you have to record that and think of that as an income at your end, even if hindi pa siya nagbabayad. Okay? Ayan o, should be recognized when earned regardless of collection. Okay? Regardless kung na-collect mo yung pera or hindi. Okay? An expense should be recognized when incurred regardless of payment. So, for example, mainit ngayon, 'di ba? So sa barbershop mo kumuha ng air condition. So air condition is an asset kasi ginagamit mo siya para mag-operate yung business mo para naman hayahayang iyong mga customer. So ngayon may air conditioner ka, right? So ngayon, kinuha mo siya installment, credit card. For example, that's 40,000 pesos, 6 months mo babayaran. So ngayon, even if na hindi mo siya binayaran ng cash, you would have to record that as an expenses. Okay? Yan, matching principle, cost should be matched with the revenue generated. When you provide tutorial services to a customer and there is a transportation cost incurred related to the tutorial service, it should be recorded as an expense for that period. Of course, transportation expense. So to illustrate the matching principle, let's assume that the company sales are made entirely through the sales representative who earns 10% commission. The commissions are paid on the 15th day of the month following the calendar month of the sales. For instance, if the company has 60,000 sales in December, the company will pay 6,000 kasi 10% ng 60,000 ay 6,000. Okay, on January 15th. The matching principle requires that yung 6% of commission expense should be reported on the December 31 income statement along with the related December sales of 60,000. So hindi mo po siya pwedeng i-omit. Kaya nga sinabi natin na sa accounting, lahat po ay ire-record. Okay, even nga yung, kumuha ka ng piso, that is considered owner's withdrawal and dapat, di ba, binabalik mo yan. Hindi pwedeng, hindi mo ibabalik. Kasi kaya nalulugi ang kumpanya kasi pagkuha ka ng pera sa company mo. Okay? What else? Full disclosure principle. Okay? So sa full disclosure principle naman, okay, is a concept that requires a business to report all necessary information about their financial statements and other relevant information to any persons who are accustomed to reading this information. Okay? And Company X should disclose that the anticipated loss from the lawsuit in the footnotes of their financial statement, even though the loss has not been confirmed or finalized yet. Lahat dapat i-disclose. Conservation principle, also known as prudence. It is a principle that requires company accounts to be prepared with caution and high degrees of verification. You really have to verify, kaya nga may resibo. Okay? In case of doubt, expenses should be recorded at a higher amount, revenue should be recorded at a lower amount. The entity should recognize the liabilities that claim to the employee for the legal case, even the entity not sure if the entity is really not sure if they are failing. And the recognition should be at the highest value. Di ba nga kaya nga yung iba nahuhuli sila, okay, yung mga iba na accountant, nahuhuli sila na kumukuha sila ng pera sa kumpanya. Kasi nagpa-falsificate sila ng document. Ngayon, nung verify na, malalaman na nakuha pala sila ng pera. Kaya nga very important talaga ang accounting. You really have to have accounting in your business kasi yun yung pinaka-proof, okay, na talagang kikita yung iyong business, okay? Kumikita or hindi kumikita. Okay, next natin would be materiality principle. In case of assets that are immaterial to make a difference in the financial statements, the company should instead record it as an expense, okay? And then examples, a school purchased an eraser with an estimated useful life of 3 years. Since an eraser is immaterial relative to assets, it should be recorded as an expense. Okay? Kasi lalo na kapag nagtuturo ka, di ba? It should be considered as an expense kasi ginagamit yan ng teacher. Though it's quite different now kasi we are having pandemic. Okay? Ray, okay, one more would be Liability Principle. This is the concept that only those transactions that can be proven should be recorded. Ayan. For example, a supplier invoice is solid evidence that an expense has been recorded. Okay? You cannot say na, ay, gumastos ako eh. Gumastos ako, kumain ako eh. Tapos gusto mo pa reimburse pero wala kang resibo. So dapat merong evidence through receipt. Okay? Realization revenue or recognition principle is the concept, okay, na that revenue can only be recognized once the underlying goods or services associated with the revenue have been delivered or rendered, respectively. Okay, so for example, Mr. A render laundry services. Ibig sabihin ng render, nagbigay ka ng serbisyo sa client mo na si customer C in January 30, right? However, customer C paid for the services the following month pa, January, so February pa nagbayad. In this case, Mr. A should record the revenue for the month of January, even though nagbayad siya ng February, because that was the time the services rendered, not the time when the cash was received or paid by customer C. Okay? So, dapat kung kailan talaga ginawa. Hindi pwedeng magsinungaling. Okay? The best way to understand the realization principles is through the following examples. Ayan, advance payment for goods. Okay, a customer pays 5,000 in advance for a custom design product. For example, yung mga giveaway. Pari may binyag, ayan, giveaway. Nagbayad na. Nagbayad ka na pero hindi mo pa nakukuha yung products. Advance payment of for services. Ayan, magpapakulay ka ng buhok. Oy, Gcash ko na sa'yo ha. Kasi sahod ko na, tapos pupunta na lang ako dyan kapag okay na ako. Yan, okay? Delayed payments, ito medyo mahirap to. A seller ships goods to a customer on credit, pinautang, and bills the customer 2,000 for the good. Kaya lang hindi nakabayad, lalo na pandemic, di ba? Nawalan ng trabaho. The delayed payment is a financing issue that is unrelated to the realization of revenue. At the end, kapag hindi na nakabayad talaga, you will record that as bad debts expense. Bad debts. Bad. Masama. Debts. Utang. Right? Yeah. Multiple deliveries. A seller enters into a sale contract under which it sells an airplane to an airline plus 1 year of engine maintenance and initial pilot training for 75 million. In this case, the seller must allocate the price among 3 components of the sale and realizes revenue as each one is completed. Thus, it probably realizes all of the revenue associated with the airplane upon delivery, while the realization of the training and maintenance components will be delayed until earned. Okay? So ito, hindi lang talaga siya eroplano, marami pa. Okay? So what nga ba importante? Okay, why are we studying? Why are accounting principles important? Okay? The purpose of having and following accounting principles, kasi guide siya. It's actually a guide, right? It is to be able to communicate economic information in a language that is acceptable and understandable from one business to another. So ito yung pinaka-guide, di ba? Guidelines sa accounting, okay? And yan, depending on the characteristic of a company or entity, the company law and other regulation determine which accounting principles are they required to apply. Pero ang standard talagang ginagamit is yung GAAP or the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Okay? And what else? Ayan. All right. So, I think that's the end of the lesson kasi ang ating lesson lang naman is all about, okay, the counting concepts and principles. All right. So I do hope that this recording was able to help you out. All right. I do hope that you were able to understand the lesson. Okay. Thank you so much for your time in watching this video. All right. So don't forget to subscribe rather in my YouTube channel. All right. Thank you so much and see you again next time. Goodbye.